What have you been playing lately?
One game that I've been playing before I got sick was a game that I got on Kickstarter a couple months ago, coming from the great lads over at Pandasaurus Games, and that's Minerva. Minerva is a game developed by Hisashi Haizashi, and the artists are Ryo Niamo and Franz Vowinkle. Vowinkle.
I like it.
Indeed. Minerva is a tile laying game in which we are managers of the great Roman city. So basically, there's Rome, and then you're theoretically a city that's kind of bordering, like a tier one, tier two city of Rome, shall we say. And what you're aiming to do is you're trying to create a prosperous and important city like Rome, and you're having to kind of have all these different types of parts of a town that's laid out in a tile in front of you. You purchase it, and you have to strategically place it with among all the other tiles that are amongst your tableau that's in front of you. And what you have to do is you have to gain victory points, and victory points are accrued by essentially activating your town. So every piece of your town and every tile that you lay is going to be activated by a residential area, and that residential area is then going to trigger tile by tile exactly what is going to give you points, or what is going to give you points for cultural or for military or for the arts or that kind of stuff that you can then kind of turn in for the end of the game. So, like, for example, you start off with the fountain, and then maybe you get some wheat fields, right? So that produces foods. And then you can have, like, you can go and mine. So you have, like, mine caves, and then you can start, gathering those resources, and then you start having buildings like museums come up. You have, like, different monuments that you can build for yourself, or you can invest into army things or whatever, and you kind of get these different points for that, as I made mention earlier. And yeah, you're basically just kind of seeing what you can do. Now, this isn't a game like Haruba where it's, a solo cooperative game, right? You are trying to kind of competitively figure out what your opponent's building, what you can build to kind of prevent them from moving further while still making your part of Rome or your sub-city of Rome that much better. So again, each tile that you're purchasing with the resources that you are accumulating from your different tiles is important, and placing them is important, and having a good combo of tiles that you can lay out, that you can activate, and then kind of at the same time making another combo of tiles that may be going up and down versus side to side is interesting, and kind of gives not only the sense of this combo mechanism, but almost like a broad, like, bird's eye view of what this town actually looks like, which is kind of cool. You can also hire assistants. Assistants can go on those residential areas to make them usable once again. So normally once you place down a residential tile, you can't use it again. But you could place it on the other side of this row and then kind of score combo right to left versus left to right. But then that's it. Like, if you try to place another one, it just ends. And then you can place them up to down. The game was fun. Once we started to get going, it was fun. But for some reason, my friend and I really struggled with the rule book. Setting everything up, understanding how the game plays was kind of a trial and tribulation. We didn't really understand what the iconography meant. We felt as though how the game flowed and where we wanted to see them in the rules was not where we expected them to be, so that was pretty frustrating. There was a lot of typos and errors. Like, there was a lot of, like, weird spelling errors. There were, like, errors where they were, like, typing a word and it got cut off, so they put a dash, and it wouldn't be like what you would expect. It would be like how it was formatted in a way where I don't know, like, say if there was like a thing called monument, right? I don't know, this isn't coming from the book, but they would be like MONU dash, and then it would spell monument on the next line. Like, it made absolutely no sense.
That's weird.
It seemed like we got a proof of the rule book prior to it going to printing, but they printed it off anyways. It's a very, it's really strange. And it's like, in essence, it can still be overlooked because, again, once we kind of understood what we needed to do, the game started flowing and feeling really good. But it just, I don't know, like that rule
Yeah.
book was really hard to digest, which really kind of nails home the importance of having a really good, well edited rule book. And not only
Yes.
that, but also having it in a way that makes sense, which is
Hmm.
extremely difficult because in a way I think people are always going to look at rule books and expect certain rules or certain things to be described in a place where, as a developer or a designer, that's not where it's supposed to go. So it's just kind of like when I'm thinking about that, I'm trying to keep that in mind in terms of like, okay, if I'm expecting in here, I'm not, I shouldn't be like cussing out or trying to spread bad stuff about them because of that.
Yeah.
The spelling and grammatical stuff, whatever, right? I
Hmm.
mean, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It just makes me leery moving forward how it would
Yeah.
be how I'd want to approach another game of his or another game by Pandasaurus.
Hmm.
In what it comes down to, Minerva's a game that it necessarily didn't give the greatest impression, but there's a jewel in the rough, shall we say,
Yeah.
in that game.
Yeah.
So
See, and this goes back, like, I hate when a rule book kills a game like that because it could be a fantastic game,
mm,
but the experience is tarnished for. I don't know. That's just frustrating to
yeah,
me.
it's like weird things too. Like the back of the tiles are black, and black is hard, especially when it's the main like 80% of the tile. So
Yeah.
like the main picture is of a female warrior, and you can find it in the box. And what they did was is in the back of the tiles, it's black and it's gold. So like the majority of the background is black, and like she's in there, but she isn't really defined. It's like
Hmm.
kind of like a weird shadowy image, which doesn't look like it was an artistic uh choice. It seemed like it was a weird misprint, or it seemed like it was a weird printer thing. And
Weird.
yeah, and it's just like, again, the game is great. The presentation is what was lacking for me, and that played a part to my enjoyment.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Yeah. That's true.
in essence, is again, with all that taken in consideration, I'm presuming, and I haven't looked yet, but there should be like an updated rulebook online through BGG, if there is one. I would say though that if there is ever a second edition, pick up the second edition, or just wait for this to go on the cheap.
Yeah.
I would say this is definitely a fun tile laying game. Just be wary of some of the production happenings in this game. That's my only real concern. Otherwise, I would say that like they have metal coins. The metal
Ooh.
coins are really nice, and
Hmm.
the feel of the tiles are really good. And
Okay.
I would say that the coloration and the illustration of everything that isn't the backside looks really nice as well too. Again,
Yeah.
just like there was some choice production things that happened for me that didn't sit right. So kind of a bummer, but Minerva by Pandasaurus Games, close. It's a good game. Production wise, second edition, let's go.
It sounds like they need to get Mr. Peter Woken on that project.
I asked him if he was going to be in it. There was some, I don't think he didn't say much. He was just like, no,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't a project that I worked on. So I was like, okay, that's fine
If you're
by
interested
me.
in some great inside information on the production and design of board games, the not the game design, but the visual design, listen to our last episode. Very interesting stuff from Peter.
Get woken.
Get woken.
Get woken.
Okay, well that's Minerva by Pandasaurus Games. What else does Pandasaurus do? I know they're big lately, and I probably have some of their games, but what are some big games from Pandasaurus? Do you
Pandasaurus
know?
has done their first big game that really kind of brought them to prominence for me is Wasteland Delivery Express,
That's what it is. Okay.
because they were
Yes.
one of the first one of the first publishers to basically go all in with the game trays.
Ah, yes.
And that was a huge deal because like within 8 minutes they were able to essentially lay out this component heavy game about trading on the wasteland, and just having everything set up on all these nice game trays, like awesome production levels. And that like defined, I think, Pandasaurus Games as a serious publisher to contend with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They
That's cool.
also did Dinosaur Island, which they are coming
Okay.
out with
Yes.
soon, right? So they're having Totally Liquid, and the what is it?
Dinosaur.
Yeah, Dulosaur. So Totally Liquid is the expansion. Extreme Edition is the second reprint of that game, and then the Duelosaur, which is the 2-player version of Dinosaur Island, which should be coming to backers soon. They also did the Mind, and that's what they're kind of been leaning on recently. So like they have the Mind, they have the game, they have another card game that just Illusion. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So they've been actually going in on like the German card games, I feel like, recently.
My copy of The Mind is finally on its way to my house.
I saw
after
that.
months, after all the hype, but I'm very excited.
I hope it hasn't died down for you. I hope there's still a lot of fun to be had.
I'm so very excited. It's been there's been times where I've needed to pull out a small game that I can just really not impress people, but like bring people together with, and this will be that game for me because I haven't had a game like that for a while.
Word.
I'm very excited. I want to talk about trains, but not the way you think. I want to jump on the hype train and talk about Root. The hype train, the hype train, the hype train. All right. I apologize
God.
for that.
I've now officially known you for at minimum. Let's see, this is 9 episodes. More than a work day.
Yes.
And that I did not expect that, and that was amazing. By far, your penultimate thing that you've ever done.
Thank you.
Of our podcasting relationship.
So for that sound, I'm so annoying at work sometimes. I was in a meeting and I used that sound probably 20 times because we'd go over projects that I'd be like reporting back on for everyone that was done. I'd hit that button. I'm surprised I have a job still.